What's up, YouTube? This is another daily vlog. Thank you for tuning back in. Today is October 24th. It's been about 2 days since my last vlog. And it's also been 2 days since I've last got into the gym. Because this week it required actually 3 rest days, which is sort of different for me. Because personally for me, I kind of like, constantly working myself out and trying to maximize my time every day, especially with my body, and especially with training. Before, I never really understood the importance of recovery days, the importance of letting my muscles, accustomed to all the training and all the stresses that's going on with it. I'm used to kind of just going 100%, but the truth is, especially with training, with new training stimulus in general, it's extremely important to have our bodies adapt to the stresses that we're putting on it, to reduce the risk of overreaching and to reduce the risk of extending the amount of time that will, I'm so sorry. I'm kind of just learning about this in the personal training certification that I'm doing under ISSA, and it's like new information that I understood like generally as I was training through track and field and cross country and just being a part of sports and having a coach kind of telling me like these things. But it's kind of interesting like learning it from an actual certification and a textbook and kind of like connecting the dots and seeing how it actually all makes sense, like why the coaches were telling me, like today and this next couple weeks we're going to be going 70 to 80% of our max during workouts. And I was like, why don't we just go 100% all the time? And it's because of overreaching and overexerting ourselves. And something I'm learning is that our bodies actually go through periods of training, stages of training. So it's going to be, for example, when we're introduced to a new stimulus, our bodies go through shock, which is the first stage, a shock stage where we're going to be putting a whole bunch of new stresses and new stimuluses on our body, and our muscles, our body, our cardiovascular system, our psychological system is all going to be putting on new factors into it. And after this stage is the adaptation stage or the growth stage. It's where our bodies are going to start trying to match with the stimulus and with the new stresses that it's putting onto its body or into its system. For example, cardiovascular, our lungs, our circulatory system, our heart is going to start trying to kind of meet up and trying to balance out with what we're putting ourselves through. For example, going for a run. If you're starting to run for the first time and you notice in the beginning it gets hard but gradually gets easier, it's because our bodies have a natural system called homeostasis that regardless of any stresses and new situations you're going to put it through, naturally our bodies are going to try to find balance. And that's why it's important to kind of push our bodies through a certain extent to improve, basically, and to improve performance-wise, health-wise. So when you're running for the first time and you see your body gradually starting to, or you see the run starting to gradually get better. This is our body in the growth stage when our systems in our body is basically going to try to catch up with everything else that you're putting it through. An easier way to put it. And the third stage our body goes through is the breakdown stage. I forgot exactly what the term is called, but basically our bodies are going to start, going through a stage where it needs time to recover. Basically, our bodies can't undergo excessive amounts of stress and exercise for a long period of time. That's just how our body is. Like, our body goes through phases of training, the 3 stages. As much as we want to go 100% all the time, some of us, it's just our bodies need the time to recover. And if you don't go through these stages the right way, for example, in the beginning, if you're in the first stage of new stresses going through the body and you try to go 100% at that time instead of going from like 20 to 50 to 70 to 80 and gradually increasing the intensity of exercise, then you're gonna overexert yourself, and instead of going through the natural body's phases of growth, then you're gonna reach a point of overexertion where instead of growing to the new exercise that you're putting through, and instead of going through a stage of improvement and time of improvement, you're going to be instead sacrificing that time and putting your body through a stage of recovery, when truthfully in the growth stage your body doesn't need that time of recovery. It's in the stage of growth. It's in the training stage of growth. And yeah, so that's why it's extremely important to make sure that you put your body through the right amount of intensity when you're exercising, so you don't put it through an unnecessary time of rest, and you don't sacrifice the time that you should be growing and putting it through some rest, unnecessary rest, rest that basically unnecessary rest. Like anytime somebody gets injured, or anytime you feel way more tired than usual, than you should be, then it's probably time to start decreasing the level of intensities. But the truth is, it's probably hard to determine this by yourself without a trainer, without a coach. Thankfully, I did have coaches back in the day that brought me through the right process and guided me with the right stages of intensity, and to peak basically at the right times with athletic performance and with sports training. These stages of growth is more important, because you're gonna want to peak, or you're gonna want to be at that growth stage, at that optimal growth stage at times of certain meets or certain important games that you have. For example, if you're in high school and you're going through the stages of you're just going through the meets. For example, for track would be like working up to state meet at the very end. then you're gonna want to, be at the growth stage. You're gonna want to be at the peak performance. You're not gonna want to be at a time of recovery and at a time when your body isn't, at the right stage. So, anyways, if you've been watching this far, I've been kind of grinding on the personal training certification part, and if you watch on these daily vlogs, you've kind of seen my progression with learning more about the personal training, and I think just this part really clicked with me because it kind of began to make more sense of why in certain training programs there's phases. For example, there's phases of increasing intensity, and like there was an actual purpose for that and all that stuff. So right now where I'm at with this personal training is that these certifications make a lot of sense if you actually put the time to make sense of it, instead of just trying to get that piece of paper, instead of just thinking that it's more important to have the certification than to know the actual knowledge, because I'm kind of starting to see now a lot of the fitness quote-unquote gurus and influencers online. A lot of them kind of put out programs and all that stuff and videos and kind of unrealistic expectations for people of bodies that they say other people can get, and it puts this unrealistic expectation that, oh, maybe if I do exactly what they're doing on their Instagram pages, maybe if I follow exactly what their posts are saying, like this exact exercise with this exact rep and set times, maybe I can look like them. But the truth is, maybe you will look like them, but not in the time frame that you think you will. Not with a lot of other factors that are extremely important to gaining that type of physique, like nutrition, sleep, just your lifestyle, and balancing your relationships, self-care, and just having the money to put into the nutrition that's required to have that type of physique, like supplements, the food that you're gonna have to be eating to be that lean. There's just a lot of things that I know the place where I was at when I was looking at personal trainers online, or not personal, when I was looking at fitness influencers online. I literally used to save the workouts for a lot of fitness influencers because, I just thought that maybe that's what everybody else was doing. That's how they started. It was just literally following their programs or their Instagram posts step by step, Yes, I guess you could get progress, but it doesn't tell you about the actual phases that you get put through, and certain exercises. Not all exercises work for everybody. That's actually a training principle, is that some exercises and programs, all programs actually, need to be individualized for everybody, because not everybody has gone through the same things throughout their body. Like, some people have injuries that need to be specifically adhered to. Some people aren't as flexible to be able to do certain exercises. Some people need less repetitions, or just depending on your goals. Like, if you don't have a goal, and if you're just trying to follow these people's Instagram posts all the time, then their goals, they don't specifically have goals. They're just trying to put out these posts for people. Maybe it'll help them, maybe it'll help some people, but maybe it'll also do more bad than good for other people, because they're working to try to get to where they are, until one time they'll hit a stump. Maybe they'll look in the mirror and they haven't had the progress that they've been looking for, because their expectation is that they'll get the progress in a month or two. But to get to where they're at takes time, and takes way more than a couple months, maybe even way more than a year, if you're sticking to the program the right way, and if you have a 100% healthy diet and sleep and all these other factors. To get where they are actually took a lot more than just following people's workouts on Instagram. It's kind of just like saying from where I've been. The point of this page, is to show a real life journey, and not what a lot of fitness influencers are kind of just pushing out there. Yes, they may have a very desirable physique, and yes, they may be putting out workout posts that do help people, but coaching people, from what I've been learning in this ISSA certification and personal training fitness coach certification, is that actually coaching people through the process of attaining their goals, health and fitness wise, takes a lot more than just putting out those videos. And if they're really looking to help people out, they would at least set realistic expectations for them, and tell them there's so many other factors that need to be taken into consideration. I'm kind of talking to my older self. If my older self knew this, he wouldn't be as upset at not seeing as much progress as he thought. Maybe he wouldn't have hurt his shoulder. Maybe he wouldn't be trying to add more weight, when maybe the weight wasn't the problem. Maybe the diet was the problem, or the proper form was the problem, or maybe I needed to work on foundational exercises more to increase my mind to muscle connection, and just little things like that aren't exactly shown on Instagram and stuff like that. There are some people on YouTube that are good at talking about these little things, like Jeff Nippert and some other people. But Jeff Nippert really stands out because he really goes into the little things that aren't really shown on Instagram with working on your health and fitness. But anyways, this daily vlog got really long because something I've been learning about on personal training thing. So yeah, I hope that in some way, if you've watched this far into it, that it's helped you kind of set realistic expectations with health and fitness. And I hope to see you on the channel, and I hope that these vlogs are helping you or somebody in some way. Have a good day.